Back, dear viewers, and as we said earlier, we shall talk today about Egypt's efforts to achieve 10 billion US dollars on the form of foreign flows in the fiscal year 2022-2023. And to shed light on the issue, we are joined live over the phone by Dr. Mustafa Reda, the economic expert. A very good morning to you, Dr. Reda, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Sir, first of all, how do you see Egypt's keenness on encouraging investors and the so many steps taken in this regard and the incentives given to try and attract more foreign investments?
Certainly, the state took a real important step in order to encourage investors, in order to come and invest in Egypt, and certainly gave a lot of facilities to investors in order to probably encourage them to come and invest in Egypt. On the other side, this is a message to the outside world, certainly, that Egypt is serious in providing the facilities to investors and certainly eliminating any obstacles that might encounter these investors when they come and invest in Egypt here. On the other side, you see, this is a very important point also because certainly these investors coming from abroad will get the new technologies in various aspects, and this will upgrade our human resources and will encourage probably these investors to come here in Egypt in order to train and have an adequate manpower in order to run their business in Egypt here.
Right. And Dr. Reda, how do you see the current business atmosphere in Egypt at the moment, trying to attract foreign investors, Arab investors, and also the private sector here in Egypt? If you can talk about each of the intended targets for drawing more investments. How do you see the atmosphere?
Certainly, the state took a very important part in order to encourage the investors to come into Egypt, which was the participation of the private sector in various projects. You see, probably we could envisage that in the infrastructure projects, the roads. There are a lot of companies, private sector companies, that participate in this respect. Also in the petroleum sector, in the oil and gas sector, private sector plays an important role. And probably this will encourage investors to come in order to go into the industrial field also and into the agricultural field, which is very, very important to us.
Okay. What about the mechanisms adopted by the state in order to achieve that goal? I mean, the goal to attract more investments specifically to the industrial and agricultural sectors, the mechanisms.
Certainly, this could be summarized in 2 points. The first one is certainly providing facilities and eliminating any obstacles that might, and the president probably gave instructions that in order to encourage industry, any obstacles have to be eliminated. On the other side, the state itself is undertaking a lot of agricultural projects in various probably domains. You see, so we have the 1.5 million fidans that are going to be erected, and probably this is an important project certainly, and probably will encourage other investors, both locally and from abroad, to come and invest in this domain.
Okay. One of the measures, Dr. Reda, to try and attract more investments was the golden license. And I'm speaking here mainly, I guess, about the private sector here in Egypt. So could you tell us about how the golden license facilitated businesses and, made for the rise of production?
Certainly, this initiative was very, very important, and it probably gave a lot of emphasis on eliminating bureaucracy. You see, because probably here some of the investors might encounter bureaucratic attitude, you see, so certainly has been eliminated. On the other side, the facilities in order to get permits and all that has been certainly cut through. So certainly all these procedures which are being streamlined will encourage investors to come here and start building projects.
Right. And in the attempt to draw a more foreign and Arab and also a local investments, there is a major, there are major companies that are being offered on the stock market for public offerings. Could you tell us about that step by the government, and how do you see it working?
Certainly, this is very important because this certainly will, when we have a foreign investor which is going to participate in certain companies here who buy a share in it, certainly he'll be transferring the technology and he'll be upgrading this company, and certainly the results will be positive. And on the other side, he'll provide training and probably introduce new technologies in order that these projects certainly will be maximizing their return and their revenue. So certainly this has a positive impact.
Right. And Dr. Reda, the new Islamic sovereign bonds that were issued, how do you see them attracting new investors, Arab investors, maybe from the Arab Gulf region, from Asia, Europe, or America? Or how do you see those Islamic sovereign bonds and their issuance?
Certainly, these are very important tools in order to probably attract investors here, or probably encourage investors to invest and put their funds here in Egypt. Certainly, as you mentioned now, the title is Islamic, so certainly probably it will attract probably most of the Arab countries, which will be very interesting in investing in these bonds.
Okay. And we need to learn more, Dr. Reda, about the sustainable blue, social, and panda bonds. And some, could you talk to us about those? There is also the samurai bonds.
Well, certainly these are certain bonds which probably will have a certain rate, you see, and will give us probably within a certain time frame a certain degree or a certain amount of income, you see, which would be really very attractive to investors here to come here and put their money in Egypt, because it will be the revenue which will be coming in from these bonds will be higher than any other probably investment options that are available. So certainly this is a method of attracting also and probably increasing the rate of inflow of foreign currency into Egypt.
And sir, how do you see Egypt's keenness on transferring around 50% or half of the general investments into green ones?
Well, this is very important actually, because certainly with our last conference, which has been held here about the climate changes and all that, and in order to reduce pollution, this is a very important initiative taking place, you see, and certainly a lot of countries will be probably, and investors will be probably interested in investing in this domain here, because certainly this is the trend now that we go to green projects in order to probably, certainly it will reduce costs, and certainly a very, very important point I just mentioned now, it will reduce the pollution, you see, which has been a problem, and it has been discussed in the last conference which was held here.
COP27, yes, in November in Sharm el-Sheikh. Dr. Mustafa Reda, economic expert, many thanks for your time and your insights, sir. Dear viewers, by this we've come to the end of this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show. On behalf of my dear colleague Dina Hussein and everybody here at the program. We wish you a very good day here with us on Nile TV International. Please do stay with Nile TV as our French language transmission will be taking over in just about 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes from now. So please stay with us.